Welcome to Transparency with Tiffany, the podcast. Y'all make me feel so special. The best live audience ever. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm excited to be here recording season 2 of Transparency with Tiffany, the podcast. We're still talking about finding my voice and me first. And so today I have a special guest. She's going to take us down that road. We're going to talk about that a little bit. But before we do, I want to start first to tell everybody where we are in this beautiful location, because I get questioned all the time, where are you? And so we are in Renovations Art Studio in downtown High Point. Can we give them a round of applause? Yeah. And so a lot of people don't know about them. We're grateful for our partnership with them. This is Black owned, this is woman owned, and it is amazing. Yes, and so to my tribe out there, if you have not been in the studio, please check them out and please follow them on all social media sites. Alrighty, so we're going to jump into today's guest. Today's guest is, how do we meet? I'm gonna get off track for a minute. Do you remember how we met?
I think we met before Circle City.
I think so too.
Sutherland's.
Okay, yes.
I think that's where we met for the first time.
Yes. You was coming in being all quiet, and, didn't tell nobody who you was in the lounge, famous, not telling us, who you were. Okay, yes. So today we have with us Assistant Chief of Police from Greensboro, my friend, my sister, Stephanie Mardis. Thank you, Tiffany. Absolutely. So before we jump in, tell us one thing about you that we'd be surprised to know.
I'm actually a very shy person.
Are you?
I am.
Girl, we be watching your videos on social media. You be dancing and cutting up and stuff.
Yes. I actually like to be by myself. I like to be in the quiet. I don't really like to be surrounded by a lot of people all the time. Okay. And so I'm the most introverted extrovert you will ever meet. You feel me?
Yes. And I definitely would not have known that. Mm-hmm. Okay. You have one son.
I have one son.
Yes, that's your baby.
Mr. Jackson. So people say, hey, Chief Martis, what should I call you? I said, usually people just call me Jackson's mama. Yep. I said, if I can just wake up every morning with that job title, anything else is icing on the cake.
Oh, no, that's right. Yes. Okay. So law enforcement is a family affair for you?
Yes.
So
my father. So my father, he was one of the first African-American police officers in Tampa, Florida, late 50s, early 60s, Sam Jones. So when he was a police officer, he could not patrol non-Black neighborhoods. So he couldn't arrest white people. He did not have the power to do that. Wow. So it comes full circle now. Now the baby girl, I'm the baby of 13 kids between my dad and my mom. And so my eldest brother is a retired captain. Okay. My sister, she's a retired corporal in Tampa Police Department. Okay. Then I have a cousin who is retired Captain Broward Sheriff's Office in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And so I come from a family of public servants, mostly law enforcement, but I have an uncle, a brother that's a fireman. And then my mom, she's been a nurse. She's in her 80s now. She's been a nurse for over 60 years, but she was a nurse before she retired in Hillsborough County Jail. So there you have it. So
this is blood and breeded.
Yes.
Did you ever think about doing anything else though?
I never thought about being a cop.
Get out.
No. I was a biology chemistry major at Bennett College. Okay. So, I turned 18, graduated from high school. I'm the baby. I had older parents, if anybody can relate. I couldn't wear red fingernail polish. My dad didn't want me to cut my hair. I had a strict family. And so the only way they would allow me to leave the state is go to a private all-girls school. So that's how I ended up at Bennett College. Biology chemistry major. And here I am.
Wow. Any regrets?
No regrets whatsoever. Even when I fell flat on my face making stupid decisions, it shaped me into the person I am today. And so I don't have any regrets. I wouldn't change anything, because usually the life lessons that you don't learn the first time, and it takes you a couple of times to learn it, you turn out to be a better person for it. So
yeah. From a little bit of COVID and up until now, things have happened for us, brown and black people. We question the relationships of us and the police. How has that affected you?
Sometimes I question relationship with other players, to be quite honest with you, because, everybody's not for us. And that's sometimes maybe people in uniform. But overwhelmingly, over my 23 years of being a police officer, some of the biggest allies for our community have been police officers, and police officers that are not of color. So it's just, it's a different perspective. But what I can say is that in order for us to see the change that we want in law enforcement, we have to be the change that we want to see. Like, nobody can love us the way our community can love us, but nobody can hate us like we hate each other as well, right? So, so for us to be impactful and for us to really make that tangible change in our community, some of us gotta, take one for the team and put this uniform on and walk that tightrope, or like me, I'm always the only woman, or, most of the time the only woman, but definitely the only black woman in rooms where policies are being made, where people are being held accountable, where people are getting disciplined or terminated. And, so my perspective is sometimes the only unique perspective in the room. And 23 years ago, I wasn't really okay with being in that space. Right. But all of the self-doubt and all the imposter syndrome and all that kind of stuff that comes along with being a woman, a black woman, in a male-dominated profession, you kind of, there's an evolution of myself that I can clearly see happening over these last 2 decades that was rooted in the foundation of strong women in my family, rooted in the foundation of what I learned from being at college, of being a poised, confident, well-spoken, informed, powerful black woman. All of those things have shaped me to be unapologetic of who I am when I show up as Stephanie Mardis in those rooms where policies and things are being made.
Right. I almost feel like poetic. I want to just snap. Right,
we can snap it up.
Yes. One of the things I know that you're passionate about, and I know this from one of the girls at the lounge, her son is Sincere Davis, and he was killed. And you are so passionate about moms and parents who lose their kids and being there for them.
Right.
And hands-on.
Right.
Like you show up for them. Tell us a little bit about that.
It's so hard. It's so hard because more often than not, when my phone rings at 2:00 in the morning, I know I got to put my uniform on and go out somewhere to a corner, and I know I'm gonna be looking over a young man or young woman that could be my niece or my nephew, right? And so when I say nobody can love us like we love each other, like, I don't know about y'all, but like when I navigate this earth and I see young people or older people, you know what I mean, in our community, I feel responsible for them, even if I don't know them. And so I feel responsible for how the victims are honored. I feel responsible for how the families are treated and supported. I feel responsible for how the integrity of the investigation, how it goes. I feel responsible for that. And sometimes, I'm so frustrated and so angry because our community is not frustrated and angry every time a young person loses their life. If the streets are getting shot up on a different side of town, that community wouldn't stand for it. You know what I mean? They'll be knocking down the doors at city council. And so sometimes I feel like I'm grieving by myself and outraged by myself sometimes. And so when those mothers and family members are grieving and they feel like they don't have anybody to talk to in the community, they call me at 2:00 in the morning or 3:00 in the morning and crying on the phone. And I don't know what to do. You know what I mean? I know what to do, but I get tired, you know what I mean, of doing it. And then my mom, you know, I have to pray for them. So, you know, we have these families grieving in these communities, and they feel like they can't call the people in their community to help them to grieve. They calling the police. Yeah. You know what I mean? As a form of emotional support.
Right.
And so when I became the captain over the Criminal Investigations Division, that's over homicide, robbery, you know, crimes against person, all those violent crimes, I saw we were missing the mark. We, meaning police department, Greensboro Police Department, were missing the mark of seeing these families and supporting these families. You know, we can invite all these other groups and communities into the headquarters and host them and sit down and take the time to explain things to them. But these families were not getting that same opportunity. And I said, hey, not on my watch, you know what I mean? So what we're going to do as a police department is invite these families in and tell them what we have and this is what to expect, and just be empathetic to people. Treat people how you want to be treated. And so the mothers went from, we'll call them the mothers stand against gun violence. They went from not really liking the police, right? And they didn't, and I didn't blame them for the most part, to like, if anybody talk about me or talk about our colleagues, and it doesn't matter what color cop it is, they'll go to blows for defending us, because they see us as people and we see them as people. And so I don't even know how that happened, but it just came to happen.
It was you.
Right.
It was
the Lord. It was me being obedient. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because at first those mothers didn't like me, because there were some things in our community that we need to be accountable for. And they wanted to beat me up, like seriously. They thought out, they're like, who she thinks she is, she gonna be a problem. But I loved them enough to tell them the truth, even if it was hard to hear. And I didn't make promises that I couldn't keep. And so from that came a beautiful relationship that I've, you know, made with the mothers and families that even they call my mom. They ask about my son and how he's doing. And these are ladies and, you know, families who've lost their young men, but then they embrace my child. You know, so it's the Lord is working in ways that we cannot understand. But we just have to be obedient.
This is a crazy question, but I pray for you a lot. Are you ever scared? Like of when you hear of like Officer Nick, and then Officer Haran, yes. Are you? And I know you can't be in fear, but does it?
That's such a weird question, because normal people should be afraid, right? I need to go sit on somebody's couch. I'm glad I'm here. But you just feel, I guess we're conditioned, and that's with officer wellness. That's why officer wellness is something that we really need to look at too, because we're so conditioned to suppress whatever we're feeling in the immediate moment to rise to the occasion, because everybody's looking at us to do things. But for Del Nix, he was my friend. Right. So we watched each other's kids grow up together, you know, when our kids would go to each other's birthday parties. And so to be in the position that I'm in, and then have to go and manage a scene, or, you know, call his wife, talk to his wife Kelly or his son Will, and, you know, look at them and how do you explain, what do you say to that, you know? So it brings things full circle. So I don't get afraid, but heartbroken, yes. But out of those tragedies, you see the absolute best in humanity. You really do. Like my church, like Circle City Church, Pastor Lear, Pastor Mike, whoop, whoop, whoop. Shout out. Come on, y'all, give it up for him, give it up for him. There's no way, because, you know, the higher up you go in any organization, the more pressure you feel and the more responsibility and all those things. And I can honestly say that, you know, y'all's prayers, my church family, it's literally saved me and Jackson's life, you know what I mean, in a way to where we can still have hope and joy and sense of security, and I don't have to be anybody but, Steph. Y'all call me Chief, but it's not, y'all call me Chief in a different way.
Right.
You know what I mean? Chief like family, not like Assistant Chief of Police.
Right.
That I pray for people who don't have that.
Yeah.
So do I ever get afraid? Not really.
Okay.
Not really.
Yeah.
But I get weary.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get weary.
Listen. And we calling you Chief in respect.
I know.
It's family, but I know for me, it's I'm in a different seat at church because I am behind the scenes with you. And I am grateful because we haven't always had like a security team.
Right.
And so much, we've seen things happen, people coming in and, we looking at the one eye like, we don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
But so we're grateful that we have you there and your team and the time that you've spent to train them. And that's important to me because I am behind the scenes, because I am one of Pastor Liz. I'm a Bears. And so in that space, when it's looking crazy, I love being able to look like, and you sending somebody up there like, check this.
Because we fight in our church, baby. So don't come playing with us.
We won't keep what we say. We won't keep. Don't push us. But what's the little saying? I ain't no killer, but listen. That's us, and so we're grateful for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tiffany.
How do you balance the demands of me first? Because you are constantly. I know you don't have like a set schedule, and you just have a lot going on. How do you put me first?
I struggle with that.
Yeah.
I'm 47 now, so things that used to bother me at 27 don't really bother me as much, you know what I mean? Yes. And so now my nose period is a full sentence without explanation, right?
Yeah.
And so I do the things that I choose to do.
Yeah.
I do the things that fulfill me. I do the things that are going to pour into me, pour into my son, pour into my church family. That's how, it seems like I'm still busy, but I'm really refilling my cup. You know what I mean? By having balance. Because I'm not really a police, meaning like I don't have a whole bunch of police friends that I hang out with after work. Nothing wrong with that, no shade. But I just choose to not hang out with police officers on my days off.
Right.
And that keeps me balanced. That keeps me, centered. And I have a core group of people that don't mind telling me when I'm dead wrong, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they don't see me as anything but their sister or their friend that don't want anything from me. And so that's kind of how I am able to find that work-life balance. I'm not as good at it as I should, and it's still a struggle, but being able to have that balance of completely separated from police work and having just regular people that are not looking at the doors and not, you know what I mean, looking at each exit and see which way out or whatever.
Right.
It keeps me grounded.
Right. Okay. We're gonna take a question for Chief Mardis. Chief! So I want somebody to give us a question. We're talking about, I love how you talked about you find that time, like in your 20s and now in your 40s. It don't mean the same. It doesn't, Candace left, but her thing is shoulder shrugs. Like she tells me that all the time when I'm getting worked up. She's like, no, not today, shoulder shrugs. So let's talk about that. Does anybody have a question? Okay.
I know you were talking about earlier as far as the mothers or parents in general. I can't count how many times I've heard mothers or families say, oh, well, my child wasn't like that. How hard and how can you be transparent and say, look, Taquan, quote unquote, what he was doing out there. How would you address them, or how do you find yourself addressing them? Can you be full transparency with them?
Absolutely. And it hasn't always been that way. And I'll say, you know what? You love me now, but tomorrow you may not like me, right? But I'm gonna still keep showing up. And so I've had to have those hard conversations with people to tell them, you are misinformed, and this is why. And I'm saying it out of love, right? But what I can rely on is that over the last 23 years, I've developed relationships with people in the community. So they're not just meeting me for the first time. Like anybody in the community, they'll know Chief Mardis, she will tell you like it is, but she'll do it with love. And I always preface it by saying, I love you enough to tell you the truth. Because we get upside down a lot of times in law enforcement is because we are afraid to be called racist or sexist or misogynist or whatever. And so we just say anything to make people be quiet. And then that just pisses people off, honestly. So, but I'm going to love you enough and respect you enough to tell you the truth, even if it's hard to hear. Even if it's hard to hear. And it's been very impactful on how I'm received in the community, but it's also exhausting because other people in my profession aren't brave enough to take that stance. And so I'm always the cleanup woman for a lot of things.
I got one more. So how frustrating is it to, as far as when it comes to solving those crimes, when they know, okay, well, so-and-so across town, they were part of this, we know they were in it, and they won't say anything, but then it's frustrating when they get on TV or the news and say, hey, well, I know y'all know something. When the coin is flipped, you have that same opportunity to say something, and they don't say. How frustrating is that for you to say, wait a minute, you know what they did to John down there?
It's extremely frustrating. And sometimes we can't, as a law enforcement agency, we can't tell everybody's business, you know what I mean? So we may get accused of not investigating something the way it's supposed to be investigated. And people know they can get on TV and say whatever they want to say because we cannot disclose any information. And so it may be a misinformation campaign going around running rampant and everybody's drinking the Kool-Aid, and we just have to let it blow over, knowing that we know the actual truth. But on the flip side of that, I have to check myself because, I don't live in that community and I'm, not susceptible to retaliation. So you have to put things in perspective that some of the people that live in those neighborhoods are afraid to tell because there will be repercussions, street repercussions of telling the police something. So it's just a double-edged sword. It really is.
Alrighty.
So keeping with the Me First theme, is there anything you would tell your 27-year-old self to how do you keep me first? What would you tell your 27-year-old self?
I would give myself permission then to say no without an explanation. Because I'm still a people pleaser in my core, but not at the expense of myself and my family, right? But then I have to look at myself in the mirror and say, Stephanie, you're no good to yourself. You're no good to Jackson and your family and people who depend on you if you don't think about yourself first. So I'm divorced. I've been a single parent for 15 years and raising Jackson on my own. And I've had to make sacrifices. Every time I get promoted or something, I got promoted to lieutenant and I was working night shifts, 4 on, 4 off from 7 p to 6 a. I had to hire a nanny for 4 days straight. So you could forget about the raise that I just got because it's going to an in-house nanny, you know what I mean? And things like that you just have to. But, and I'm gonna toot my own horn for just a second. But in the first time in 18 years, I'm doing something completely selfish. I got invited to attend the FBI National Academy at Quantico. It's a thank you. And it's a 2.5-month stint where I have to live on the base. And I accepted it. And at first I was like, I don't know, this is Jackson's last year. Am I gonna be a terrible mom, whatever? And Jackson said, Mom, just go and be great. Yes. And he gave me permission. Yes.
Hey. I love that for you.
So I'm gonna be shipping off in a couple of weeks, and Jackson's gonna be going to school. He's going to school early, and it is gonna be okay. That's right. It's gonna be okay, right, y'all? It's gonna be okay. Okay.
And it's so funny that you said it's gonna be okay because I started out, I was having a bad morning. And shout out to Sheena. She taught me off my ledge today. But my theme for today was like, everything don't have to be perfect.
It doesn't. And doesn't have to be a straight line. You can have some wiggles and squiggles and dots and semicolons and off the, you off the whole paper.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's okay. Because that's your journey. Your journey to travel, your road to travel. And you can determine how you're going to get to your destination.
Love it.
Because we will love you anyway.
That's right. Oh, thank you.
I love you.
That was actually my last question. Ashley took my last question. Because I was going to say, give us a piece of advice, but Ashley stole my question. So.
Okay, Ash, come sit on the couch, Ash.
So we're going to wrap it up. Again, I just want to tell you thank you. I'm so grateful for you. You are one of my hidden blessings, one of my blessings that I feel like God knew that I needed that I didn't know. And so I love you. On Sundays when you're working and you're not there, I miss you. And so I'm just, I know.
Y'all gonna have to come get me at Quantico because I don't know how we gonna do it. I'm gonna be like, y'all come get me.
2 months. We're gonna be friends. It's gonna be good.
Thank you.
And let's enjoy it.
I will.
Enjoy that
I'm going
moment.
to enjoy the moment and create a legacy for my family.
Yes. One last round of applause. So before we go, I do want to do a couple of shout outs. I first want to say a big shout out to a lot of people say, Tiffany, who's recording you? Who is the people that are making you look so amazing? And so I want to give a shout out to 121 Media Production. I always get their name wrong. I still probably got it wrong. But I'm going to tell you who it is, who I call them. Alex and Kendra, the couple. Yes. And so I am grateful for them. We have talked about this. I actually looked at my phone. We started talking about this last year in November. And so this was my dream that they've helped me birth for 2025. So I'm grateful for them. So thank you guys for so much. I also want to shout out Sip with Sherry. She is partnering us to make sure that we have amazing snacks doing these podcast recordings. We are going to continue to do these and we will do them live for the rest of this year. So I want to say thank you to her and everybody. Please go check her out. That is her handle on social media. It is Sip with Sherry. And to anybody watching, are you in these seats? If you would like to partner with us and become, if you have services that you would like to offer, we welcome them. You can send us an email to transparency@tiffany@gmail.com. Alrighty, we're gonna wrap up this second episode 2, and as we leave, I just want to piggyback off what Chief Martis has told us, and for those of you in here and also out in our social media world, make sure that you're letting your no be no, finding yourselves, and just doing something that is for you. If you're not following us, please tune in and go look for us. We can be found. Our YouTube channel is Transparency with Tiffany, the podcast. And we are also on Facebook and on Instagram, same handle, Transparency with Tiffany, the podcast. Thank you so much. I am Tiffany, and this has been Transparency with Tiffany, the podcast.